If your 2020 or newer JT Gladiator is missing that street appeal when it comes to the exhaust system, this AFE Vulcan Series dual rear exit exhaust system with the black tips will be a solution. Now right off the bat, getting into the sound profile here, this is going to be a 3 out of 5 on the loudness meter, with 1 being completely stock and 5 being Wake the Neighbors loud. Now the sound level combined with the aggressive and deep tones out of the exhaust really up the street presence and will be great for the JT owner not only looking for that but also wanting a comfortable cab environment for their day-to-day drives. Now not to mention, the dual exit quad tips really elevates the look of the truck, adding a premium appearance overall if that's something that you're searching for. Again, this will bring to the table deeper and throatier tones for a more sporty feel to the JT while keeping away drone thanks to the included mid-pipe resonator. Now the straight through muffler design and dual tubing will also increase the flow, allowing the engine to breathe a bit better for some small performance gains. Now of course, this will also have the quad tip look on the back with a gloss black appearance for an added touch of aggressive styling. Now this will be made of 3 to 2.5 inch mandrel bent high-grade 304 stainless steel, offering the utmost rust resistance. Now towards the back of the exhaust, you'll see the aggressive 3.5 inch quad tip setup. They're also made of a 304 with an incredibly sleek gloss black powder coat on top. Now again, this will also include the high flow straight through mufflers and will be direct bolt on using factory hanger locations for a straightforward install. Now this will come in at about $1,300, and from what I can see here, you're definitely getting what you pay for. Now not only is this system showcasing the quality in the materials and the straight to the point build, but you're getting some great sound out of the system without going over the top, again staying in that middle range, which will crack a smile whenever you get on it, but again is not going to be overbearing. Not to mention, again, the tips are really going to elevate the look here and stand apart from the rest, so if you're in search of a good sounding exhaust that's going to last and look great while doing it, then this is going to be a great pick. Now install is going to be a lighter 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours to get the job done. Now at this point, we can head over to the shop and check out a detailed breakdown of the install process step by step. That's going to wrap it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into it.
The tools you're going to need for this install include an impact, safety glasses, electric or regular 3/8 ratchet, flathead screwdriver, hanger removal tool, included zip ties, an 18, 15, 13, 10 millimeter socket, a 3/8 extension, diagonal cutters, gloves, penetrating oil, and spare tire removal tool. What's up guys? Today we're going to be installing an exhaust on our Gladiator, but before we get started, you're going to watch a short video on how to uninstall your stock components, and I'll meet you back here for the install.
Okay guys, first step obviously is we're going to have to remove our factory exhaust. Now we have our Gladiator up on a lift to give you guys some better angles to show you exactly what we're doing underneath the Jeep. And the way we're going to do this is going to preserve our factory exhaust. If you don't care about your factory exhaust, it might be easier just to cut it off, but we're going to show you how to get this off while preserving the piping. So let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the skid plate here, and that's so we can drop the front end of the exhaust down. It'll make it a little bit easier to kind of work its way out. The factory exhaust is basically one piece from the Y pipe all the way back to the tailpipe. So what we're first going to do is we have a 13 mil bolt or a nut right here we're going to remove, and then we have 4 18 millimeter bolts here and then 2 up front here that we're going to remove, and that'll let us get the skid plate down. All right, like I said guys, that one we just did was a 13 millimeter, and the next 4 are all going to be 18 millimeter sockets you're going to need. All right guys, now before I do the front two, make sure you're supporting it with your hand, because once you loosen these, the skid plate's gonna wanna drop on you. All right guys, now this point back is what we're gonna be removing. So this clamp here we're gonna loosen. You're gonna need a 13 mil socket for this ball clamp. Now, unlike a regular flat clamp, these ball clamps have a kind of a curved edge that kind of cup around the end of the flange here, so you have to loosen it quite a bit in order to slide this out eventually. So we have that pretty good and loose, so we're gonna move to the next step. All right guys, now we're gonna pull back on this lock tab. This is just kind of to prevent the clamp from sliding at all. So just get a screwdriver in there, pull that back. All right guys, now we're right near the tailpipe, and this is the rearmost hanger. We're gonna remove this bracket because it is the one bracket that is pointing in an opposite direction from the other hangers further forward on the exhaust. I'm gonna use a 13 mil socket on these two bolts as well. All right guys, now just to get it out of our way, we're gonna pull this hanger off. You're gonna have to pull it out a little bit and rotate it down. There's this little tab right here that hooks into the frame rail, so you need to get it away from there. And you should be able to just pull this out like that. All right guys, now go ahead and assemble a tool that comes with your Jeep. We're going to lower our spare tire, get that out of the way, and then also remove the spare tire guard to finish getting out our exhaust pipe. Now this tool basically goes into a plastic sleeve that's behind the bumper here. Once you get that in, you can't twist it by hand, then you know you're on the, it's kind of like a bolt back in there that the end of this tool goes on, and we're gonna use this just like a socket wrench. And then the lug wrench here has a square opening in it. Put that in the end here. All right, with a bunch of slack let out, guys, you don't want to drop it all the way to the ground. You want to be able to get a hand underneath your tire. Lift your tire up. And there's a black bracket the tire rests on. Slide it up the cable and get it through the lug hole. All right guys, now to remove the heat shield that protects our spare tire, you're gonna have 5 bolts. They're all 10 millimeter. There's 3 up here that are gonna be very hard, if not impossible for you guys to see on camera here, but we're gonna take those 3 out first. All right, and then we have the last 2 right here, again, 10 millimeter. All right guys, now at this step, we only have 2 hangers that are holding our exhaust pipe up, and they are both pointing towards the front. which means with the help of my friend back here, we're gonna slide the entire pipe backwards out of these two hangers and then drop it down and actually pull it forward to clear the rear axle.
So now we're going to install our OEM ball clamp over our pipe. Then we can take our front pipe, slide that over, slide it over the clamp. Now we're going to take our 13mm socket and snug this clamp up. We don't want to make it too tight so we have room to move. Next is our muffler assembly. First we'll slide over our clamp, then our muffler, making sure that the outlet is facing towards the passenger side. Slide our inlet in and our clamp over. Then we can take our 15mm socket and snug our clamp up. Next is our mid pipe. First we'll install the clamp onto our muffler. Then we can take our hanger and slide it through the isolator and connect your muffler. Hold that up in place. Then you can take your 15mm socket, snug up your clamp. Next is our rear muffler assembly. We're going to slide our pipes over the axle. And you can throw your clamp on the inlet of the muffler. We can get our hanger into the isolator. And also bring your mid pipe and connect the two. Then we can take our 15mm socket and snug this up. So before we install our over axle pipe, we're going to have to relocate our breather tube and get it out of the way so it's not touching the exhaust. So I'm going to run the included zip ties over here. Tighten it down. Now we can cut the excess of our zip tie with the diagonal cutters. Next we'll be installing our hanger. So we'll take our nut clip-on and insert it through this bottom slot into this rectangular hole. Then you can take your bracket, put that on top, and you can thread in your bolt. Then you can take your 13mm socket and tighten this down. Good. Now for the over axle pipe, just slide our clamp over, insert into the pipe. Grab your 15mm socket, get this lined up, then you can snug this down. So before we install our tailpipe, we're going to spray our isolator with some lubricant. You can slide that onto our hanger. Then we can take our tailpipe with the clamp, insert the tailpipe over the over axle tube, slide in your hanger. Then you can take your 15mm socket and snug up this clamp. Now for our driver's side tailpipe, you can slide our clamp over, And then our isolator over onto our hanger. Insert our tailpipe. And then for our isolator, there is 2 prongs that will go in the bottom part of the frame rail, which will hold it in place. Then we can thread in our 2 bolts. Now we can take our 13mm socket and tighten up these 2 bolts. Now back to our clamp. Bring our clamp up, take our 15mm socket, tighten down the clamp. Now we can install our dual tips. Slide our tips over. Get them nice and lined up. Then you can take your 10mm socket and tighten down the clamp. Now you can repeat that process on the other side, and you can go ahead and tighten up all your other clamps. Now we can reinstall our skid plate. We'll line it up. Take your 13mm nut, thread that onto the stud. Then you can take your 18mm bolts, thread them in the spots. Last one over here. Then we can take our 18mm socket and tighten these down. Then we can tighten up our bolt with our 13mm socket. Next is our heat shield. There is 2 studs on the back of this bracket that you'll put into these 2 holes. Then you can thread your 2 nuts in. Then your 2 10mm bolts up here. Then you can take your 10mm socket and tighten these down. Now for our spare tire, we can pull up on this black wing, insert the spring through the center. Then you can sneak your wing down under. Get it lined up. Now we can take our spare tire hardware and put it through this entry into a white funnel. Get it lined up. You can start cranking it. Then you can take this, slide it over top so it makes it easier. Then you can start cranking. So that's going to wrap up the install on our AFE Vulcan Series dual exhaust system with black tips and rear exits for your 2020 and newer 3.6 liter Jeep Gladiator GT. Thanks for watching, and for all things Gladiator, keep it here at extremeterrain.com.